Serious mode switched on, Manchester United fans. Welcome along to Forever United TV. We're talking Inios. We're talking how they get us out of the situation that we're in right now. Concerns that every single Manchester United fan must have right now, looking at the situation that they have built. To start the show, I'm just going to read out one tweet that quite a lot of people have retweeted from yesterday, which is quite, I think, important right now and where we're actually thinking as a Man United fan base and where this club is going forward. It simply says, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, a Manchester United born fan and co-owner, has built a football operation that is embarrassing Manchester United Football Club. Quite to the bone, quite on the mark at the same time as well. I want to get into that. I want to get into Bruno Fernandes news as well today. We're going to talk everything about what happens next. The worries, the concerns about Ruben Amarim, how Inios deal with it, the whole friends situation that's going on right now at Manchester United. This is what people are looking at and this is what people are now going to jump onto. The fans have given up on this football club. I can safely say that. You can come back a day after and start saying, after everything has calmed down and the water's settled, the dust has settled, and everything is obviously looked upon a different way. But the reaction from yesterday was a resounding, this club is finished with Ruben Amarim in charge. And you cannot say it wasn't. So if you are coming back after a day after and then thinking, yeah, maybe we overreacted yesterday, it doesn't. It doesn't matter because you didn't overreact yesterday. So don't go on yourself thinking that you might have jumped the gun. As a football fan, you're watching your team absolutely get demolished week in, week out by what we used to call run-of-the-mill average teams in this Premier League. And the manager and the coach at the top is not able to change it. So there's only one thing that can happen, and that's change again from above him. But that is where the problem is for Manchester United right now that I see. We all seen the pictures of Jason Wilcox and Ruben Amarim at the train station yesterday. No issue with that. Just putting that picture up there to show how close everybody is at Manchester United. And in a way, I haven't got a problem with that either. The fact that they are communicating with each other, there is a connection and there's an understanding from coaching all the way up to the top. Like for what Fabrizio Romano said the other day when he talked about Sir Jim Ratcliffe is going to be around Carrington talking and finding out how the operation is going, making sure his presence is felt in a way where he just wants to understand what's happening and how things work and making sure that the money that's been invested is going in the right direction. They've been all too willing to let go of certain members of staff, sack members of staff. And the big question now is, have they got to a point where that friendship, and how Sir Jim Ratcliffe talks about Ruben Amarim and what he says about Ruben Amarim in terms of in interviews with the BBC. You can see him here for a long time at Manchester United. He's a great man. He's a brilliant man. He's a fantastic coach. All of these words coming out of Sir Jim Ratcliffe's mouth and everything that's been said, and everyone can pick up on that relationship. Ruben talks about it. Sir Jim Ratcliffe has talked about it openly in public. You now have to sack a mate. What happened to the ruthless Inios? What happened to the Sir Jim Ratcliffe we thought was coming in that was going to tear it up like he has done in every other department in Manchester United so far? He has built everything around this manager. In fact, there was one moment, and I remember it well, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe did say this. He said they changed their look. Remember in the first interview, for instance, just let me explain what I mean by this. The first interview that Sir Jim Ratcliffe did and had about Manchester United, wanting to topple Liverpool and Manchester City. Remember that one, the very first one, the best in class. And everyone was getting excited. Well, this is the vision of Manchester United. We want to play a certain way. We want to bring a manager in that's going to play a certain way and play the way we want to play. And then after Ruben Amarim was interviewed by Manchester United, Sir Jim Ratcliffe actually said that he convinced us in that interview to go along with what he wanted to do and his vision for Manchester United football-wise. It's like they gave up on their initial plan right from the top and bowed down to what Ruben Amarim wanted because they were trying to force him out of Sporting. It's now or never for Ruben Amarim. And that, I think, was probably, when looking at it and looking back, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? I've always. But again, looking back on that, was that the right call to try and make a man come to Manchester United that didn't want to come to United at the time? But the biggest concern in that is that they have given everything to Ruben Amarim. They have backed him all the way. And that is great. That's fantastic. But what if it goes wrong? Have you got the balls to actually start making them big decisions that we all thought you were going to make when you came into Manchester United? We're not going to be worried about the friendship that Ruben Amarim has got with Vivell, Wilcox and Sir Jim Ratcliffe, maybe even Omar Barada to some degree. These men have been put in and employed by Sir Jim Ratcliffe to do a job. That job is not being done. and it is embarrassing, like that quote says there. I'm going to run through a few more of the Ruben Amarim remarks that worried me from yesterday. We didn't do too much of it yesterday. We went into our overriding feelings of how we move on from here and what happens with this team. Let's forget about the team for now. Let's just talk about what Ruben Amarim said yesterday, and there's quite a lot that he did say. I mean, you only have to look at it. When you look at this, and I said this yesterday, and I thought I was right with it, and it was proved right. Statman Dave has come out and said Manchester United's last away victory in the Premier League came against Leicester City, who are currently 4th in the Championship. We're in October the season after. So, again, it has been how long? I'm pretty certain that was March. I've still not checked the dates, but even still, the fact that we could only beat a relegation fodder side away from home is embarrassing. Ruben Amarim stats, 17 defeats in 33 Premier League games. We're almost at that level now. If you combine both seasons together of 38 games, a full Premier League record for Ruben Amarim. He's on minus goal difference. He's lost more games than he's won. And right now, if we were in a full season for Ruben Amarim from the start to finish, we would be firmly in the relegation zone fighting for our survival. And that's Manchester United's vision. That's how Manchester United want to play football. And if Inios are going to succeed at Manchester United, then I'm sorry, we need people running this football club that are brave enough to make the big calls. And I, for one, thought that Inios would be that ownership. They have done it throughout. I look at this point right now, and you can say we cannot be a sacking club. We can't just keep sacking managers. We've got to change. But, seriously, come on. There's a point, I think it was Phil Brown who said it. There comes a point when you're watering a dead plant. All the support that you're giving Ruben Amarim, it's a great line, and it pretty much sums everything up. With Ruben Amarim at the moment. That's where we are. It's like watering a dead plant. You're throwing all of the support in and trying to keep it going and hoping that something's going to happen. It's going to spring back up and turn into this beautiful flower, whatever it is. Well, it's just not working. How long do you keep going? Until you actually end up completely flooding the bleeding thing and it just looks even worse. This is where United are at right now. It's blind faith in hope more than anything that we've seen, because everything that we've seen has been wrong for Manchester United. Ruben Amarim talking after the game. Today we didn't play our football. We must play our football, not that of the opponents. It's rough to lose again, but we need to think about the next one. Again, I was saying this last night, wasn't I? I'll carry on with a few. It's always the same. When we win, it's not the system. When we lose, it's the system. No, Ruben. No, it's not, because there wasn't even a system against Chelsea. And this is where I think he's getting a little bit detached from reality now, because that excuse is old. United didn't have a system against Chelsea. We were up against 10 men and we won the game because we were up against 10 men. The second half proved that when Chelsea dominated possession and Manchester United cowered back into a low block, inviting Chelsea on with no forwards, and they still scored with none of their best players on the pitch against us. There was no system there. It was the same old weak Manchester United even when we was winning. And so there is nothing there. It's got nothing to do with the system and what people are saying. When we win, there's nothing wrong with the system, and when we lose, it's always the system's fault. No, it's not. You're putting players on that pitch that are not good enough for Manchester United, and proved they're not good enough for Manchester United. I went to another one here on what he says as well. Ruben Amarim on the responsibility of the players. I'm not here to protect the players. I try to do my best for the club and the team. I see them training. I sometimes feel they're not the same when things get tough. That's the pressure of this club. I just think about what's best to win the next match. I'm not trying to protect my players or myself. I'm trying to win the next match and create momentum. I try to be clear-headed with my analysis, and today we played Brentford's match. The next match. Well, you cannot just forget about the match that we played just to talk about the next match. You can't just forget what's happened. And that's what I think he's got into now. And when you start seeing that as an owner of your football club, which is losing value left, right and centre, the stadium build is not going to happen unless United are competing at European level. You make a call. You make that judgment. You make a business call. Never mind the football. There is a whole plan here. Your business at Inios right now and what you've invested into Manchester United, you've lost. You just lost 1.3 billion, whatever it is that you bought into Manchester United. It's gone. Money-wise, gone. Because United are falling away. And with Ruben Amarim, United look like they're going to get relegated. There is no Southamptons, Leicesters of the world this season. We've just seen Wolves get a draw against a Thomas Frank team, which is apparently a really strong side this season and is going to really push for the Champions League. There's no gimme games in the Premier League. And this season, there isn't any weak teams. Sunderland are third. Leeds are top 8. Burnley are unluckily getting beat in the last minutes and just scraping through some poor results. Yeah, yesterday alone, Manchester City tonked them in the end, but all of their goals came late and they had 2 own goals as well. That's not even an easy game. Manchester United only just beat Burnley when we should have really smashed them as well. But again, you're not going to get any gimme games this season. There's no promoted side that's come up and is weak. And then you've got the old teams. Now West Ham are going to get a new manager bounce under Nuno. They're going to be a tougher proposition. You got to forget about them. Unai Emery will sooner or later surely start picking up form for Aston Villa. If you keep Ruben Amarim in charge, there you go. 33 games. It's relegation form. Any other big football club around the world would have sacked Ruben Amarim a long time ago. You cannot accept these standards. The business side of it, like I said, for Inios, is a complete loss right now because of Ruben Amarim and this football that we're watching. The fans will stop going to Old Trafford. They will. They'll stop going to watch boring football because, honest to God, it is the worst football I've ever seen in my life. It really is. And he is not willing to change. So Inios, the mates, the problem that is Manchester United right now really is that I think they're too connected. I think there is too much behind the scenes that's going on that friendship level that's going to cause I think, a poor judgment in what is necessary and what's needed at Manchester United at the moment. That's a big concern of mine that I'm looking at here. And I look at the players not playing for him. I look at the results. I look at the deterioration, the regression in every single player. Players that we brought in that were the right players are getting worse. And again, the Manchester United virus, because managers are stubbornly coming into this football club and wanting to do things their way. Find an identity. The mistake that Inios have made already is bowing down to Ruben and the way he wants to play. Allowing him to do this has caused another problem at this football club that now we're having to dig ourselves out of after we already buried ourselves deeper with previous managers before. What philosophy do you want? Find that manager and make him play that way. Real Madrid do it. Barcelona do it. Atletico Madrid have a way of playing. They have their system. Bayern Munich have their way. Look, you've got to keep your philosophy. Man United have lost theirs the last 10 years. And Ruben Amarim has just basically now come in and just gone in and put more cement on top of what was already buried before. And now we're going to have to go right down even deeper and go back to basics to try and find a way out of this mess. And it's going to come down to Inios. They need to stop this. They need to stop it now before it gets worse and try and salvage this season. We cannot write this season off. We can't. Manchester United fans not being in Europe for 2 seasons in a row, that's going to affect things. If Inios don't see this, then I really do question the future of Manchester United with them at the helm. They have to see this. Look, I'm not saying they're not going to make a call here or make a decision. They don't want to make a knee-jerk decision. Are they not making a knee-jerk decision right now in not getting rid of Ruben Amarim? That's the problem. Are they completely overthinking this in terms of what vision they had for Ruben Amarim right now? It doesn't make any sense in keeping him because it's not going to get any better. The games are only going to get harder. His system doesn't work in the Premier League week after week after week. We said with full preparation for games, this will work. Ruben gets more time on the training ground. The good times are coming. The players will understand what they have to do. But when you lose the players that you've got in there because you're playing worse players than them in the side, I mean, honestly, it's just an example here for Ruben Amarim before we get into the comment section. On deadline day, I did a video about Manchester United signing Senna Lamens instead of Emi Martinez. Manchester United needed leaders. Manchester United needed a goalkeeper and players that knew the Premier League. Manchester United went and bought Senna Lamens. And I said on deadline day, and I remember the video, buying Senna Lamens, the only concern I've got is that isn't a number 1 goalkeeper. And they've made an excuse there to go and bring somebody else in. They've just done it. They've bought a player in on deadline day to appease the fans or whatever it is. That's how it looks to me now. You brought Senna Lamens into Manchester United on deadline day because we needed a goalkeeper. Andre Onana has left the football club. Andre Onana and Altay Bayndeh were not good enough for Manchester United. I don't get it. People were saying you can't play Senna Lamens in the City game. You can't play him against Chelsea. Maybe Brentford will come about. Sunderland's a harder game than that right now. So when are you going to play him? I said just put him in against Manchester City and let's just get going with this. He needed to come in straight away. You spent nearly 20 million on a goalkeeper and you're not playing him. Was that an Inios signing? Was that a Ruben Amarim signing? Is he doing this out of spite and just playing the players that he thinks should play because he wanted Emi Martinez? I don't know what's going on, but you've played Bayndeh in the 3 games since that deadline day shut, and he's conceded 7 goals. United have lost 2 games. You just, like I said, that's what was happening before. So you've not changed it. So what was the point in buying him in the first place? It's absolutely ludicrous. Absolutely ludicrous. Dalot, who isn't fit enough, clearly, and has only just come back, manages to play out a whole game against Brentford because he doesn't want to change his system. If you're a football person, and I'm telling you this right now, we're football fans. We know football. We watch this team week in, week out. Jason Wilcox knows football inside and out. If he is not noticing this, I question him in his role at Manchester United as well. We're looking at Wilcox. We're looking at Barada. We're looking at Sir Jim Ratcliffe above them right now. This isn't what you say. This isn't a conversation for Ruben Amarim. We've said all we've had to say about Ruben Amarim right now. And we're going to keep complaining and moaning about it because we're watching football and he's the man that's going to have to answer the questions every single week. But we're looking at Wilcox and the people above him right now and we're asking the question, if we can see it, why can't you see it? Is it because they're friends? Is it because they don't want to? Is it because they've got too involved too quickly? Should there be a detachment from the coaches to the hierarchy at Manchester United? It just seems like he's got too much of a say to me again in this, and it's all a bit too friendly, and I'm really concerned about where we're going with it. So that, I think, is my biggest concern in all of this right now, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. And that's, again, where do we go if it doesn't change? Down the same road. We keep walking down the same path, and nothing gets better. And that is where United are at right now. Inios, take control of the situation. Take control of it very quickly. Otherwise, it's going to bury you. Manchester United will destroy Sir Jim Ratcliffe and everybody that he's employed. The best in class that Inios brought in. And I'll go right back just before coming to the comments to go over that quote again, which I think is probably the most important one so far. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, a Manchester-born fan and co-owner, has built a football operation that is embarrassing Manchester United Football Club. That pretty much nails everything that's happening and everyone's opinion of this club at the moment. Let's get into the comments section. Let's get going with your thoughts on this, everyone. Jump right in there. I know it seems it's a bit downbeat. It's not good to be talking about, but it's serious now. We're at the point where we cannot really. They're at the point of no return for Manchester United and Ruben Amarim. There's no point in trying to look for positives because there is none. Is there? We just laid out there. I've just laid out every single game that's coming up. You're talking the next 2 games against 2 teams in the top 3 of Manchester United, 3rd and top of the league. Sunderland can come into the league and get a clean sheet. Do you know what I mean? This is what we're up against and get an away win. Man United cannot buy an away win. It's embarrassing. Like I said, when you look at that Leicester game being the last time we won, oh my God. That honestly, is that not ringing alarm bells right now? Oh my days. Right. I'm just going to randomly stop this in the middle here and just try and get through a few of your comments in here. Nothing to build on. The football is absolutely awful, says MUFC 454. They won't sack him until he finishes a year. Look, right now everyone's talking about that £12 million thing. Forget it. At 4 places in the league table, we'll get you that £12 million. Right now, it's going to cost them more to keep him. So, because the further it goes on, and let's just think, we have to play another 3 Premier League games before we get to the point where Ten Hag was sacked last season. Then you've got another 3 games on top of that to get into November, what Ruud van Nistelrooy had. If you want to go through a year, if we allow Ruben Amarim to stay, that extra, 5 or 6 games that it took before he came in and make that year up, Man United could be in the relegation zone, completely cut adrift. And God knows where the players' mindsets will be. What are the players thinking as well? They're looking at this and they're looking at the coach and they're thinking, this standard's okay for Manchester United. It starts from the top. The players are looking at the coach not being sacked. They're not understanding what's going on from him. And if they know that this ownership are right behind Ruben Amarim and what's going on, then they're looking at this and going, well, that's the standard then. It doesn't really matter. Someone needs to make a call here. We've done it with the players. It should be happening right now at the coaching level as well at Manchester United. And look, it sounds like I've completely jumped onto the Ruben out bandwagon here and everything like that. I'm not at all. But tell me why I shouldn't be concerned about what we're watching right now. The stats don't lie. The table never lies. And, well, the stats do lie because everyone was telling me that United were doing well and all the stats were up there. And look, I read them out myself. But them stats count for absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Stick them up your arse is what I said yesterday with them stats. The big important stats are scoring goals, which we don't do, keeping clean sheets, which we haven't done one yet this whole season, 7 games in, and actually winning games, which we've won 2 in 7. And we're out of 2 cup competitions before we've hit October. Do you know what I mean? Like, change it. Change it. I don't care if we have to keep on sacking managers until we get the right one. It's necessary right now. You cannot just blindly... Look, everyone who says that we cannot keep sacking managers is blindly backing that claim. That's it. There's nothing to support it at all. Anywhere. What do you call a dog that can do magic? I love it, Stu. Thanks for that, mate. Anyone wants my season tickets and knockdown price of 50 quid, says Paul. JT says, Adam, the whole point Amarim was appointed was to change the culture. He's achieved that. It didn't say to change it for the good. No, I mean, come on. Again, people trying to find ways around what's happened here. The reason you brought Amarim in is to start winning football matches. That's it. The culture will change with what the ownership does. Because you could always have problems with players like Ten Hag did, but the ownership didn't back him. The ownership has changed the culture of Manchester United because Ruben Amarim pointed them out and they backed him. And that's fine. That's great. But without that ownership there doing that, that is the point I'm trying to make this morning. Without the ownership there doing that for Ruben Amarim, Ruben would have been stuck with them players still, like Solskjaer, like Mourinho, like Ten Hag was, with no help at all. And so now that they've done that, they've built this whole environment around Manchester United. It is better. It is with the players that have left, but that's the point I'm trying to make this morning. Now, in doing so, do they feel like they have to give Ruben Amarim more time because they've done that and they've made a big point about doing that? It's clearly, for me right now, not working on the pitch with tactics and what he's trying to do. He says in that interview there, and I just read it out right now, I work with these players every day. We work on the training ground, but sometimes I see them when the going gets tough, they change. How does he change that mentality? Well, first of all, you have to give them the best foundation to actually work with and what suits them. And start playing the players that probably deserve to be played rather than the players that are... let's just call them professional. Like, I don't care how professional Diogo Dalot, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw are off the pitch. That's great. But sometimes you have to pick players that are going to work on the pitch that are actually better than them players. They had a fast front line yesterday and Manchester United played the slowest centre-back free that you could ever imagine in Luke Shaw, De Ligt and Maguire. That's on Ruben. He picked that team. When he had Heaven, when he had Yoro, he had them players there. He could have played Leon, who was more robust and would have been fearless in that game. Dalot, I mean, yeah, it's not even worth talking about. Pap says, I knew Ruben wasn't in control, sorry, that says there, of the team. The moment Bruno made fun of his job being at risk playing in the Europa League final. It's all mates FC. I get what you're saying there, mate, with that one, actually. I forgot about that. Little things that fans pick up on there like that, like it doesn't come across well. It doesn't, does it? And that's the problem. Certain players need to go. How they still anyone near the first team, how any of them are still near the first team. Sorry, there's another typo in there. Shaw, Maguire, Dalot and Bruno need to go. As much as Bruno has put stats out over the last seasons, needs to rip up and start again. There is talk of, and Ben Jacobs was actually talking about this last night, and there's a few reports going around as well with Bruno Fernandes. This is his last season. You'll see the story going across the bottom of your screen there, actually. In terms of Bruno Fernandes and where he's actually at the moment, I'll just read the story out now, seeing as though it's been brought up. But Al Nassr prioritise Manchester United's Bruno Fernandes for the 2026 summer transfer window. He rejected 700 grand a week at Al Hilal offer and held talks with Al Nassr and Al Ittihad. Fernandes is open to Saudi, but won't leave United before the 2026 World Cup. That's from Ben Jacobs. So he's turned down the offer from Al Hilal for 700 grand a week. It looks like he's going to go to Al Nassr by all accounts. Like, this is the last season for Bruno Fernandes, and what a horrible way to go out, because everybody knows I've backed Bruno Fernandes. I still think he's our best player at the football club. I do. But that tells you everything you need to know there. Bruno Fernandes, and I said this yesterday, the fact that his worst season is coming under Ruben Amarim, when every other manager has managed to make more out of Bruno Fernandes, whether you like him or not, he is the worst he's ever been at Manchester United under Ruben Amarim. How the hell can you actually take that away, which was a staple, even in Man United's worst days and worst years? Bruno Fernandes always stood up, and now he is gone. That tells you a lot, I think, about what Ruben is doing. Now, Bruno will put in as much effort as anybody else, and will still try and hold that mentality in his head about this is the way that Manchester United should be playing and getting behind Ruben Amarim. But he cannot play in that system. It's quite clear that you have absolutely anchored him down, and we cannot get the best of Bruno. We're looking to try and build a city. You might as well just take Bruno out of the side. We will be better without Bruno Fernandes at the moment if you're going to play this system, because he's not going to play him in the front three either. So, again, all on the manager. It's his decisions that are causing the problem that we've got right now, which is watching crap football. And again, it comes back to Inios. And I said, I've not got a problem with Wilcox and Ruben having a laugh on the platform at the train station. Good relationships, that's all good and well. And off the back of a win last week, maybe United we're going in a bit more confident into this game. But what were we doing in training? Jason Wilcox watches training. He oversees everything that goes on at Manchester United. He is fully dedicated. He will know what's going on right now. Has he got the balls to go to Inios, Sir Jim Radcliffe, Omar Barada, and say, we like Ruben, but this is not working. We need to make a change now. That what's happening on the training ground is not transferring onto the pitch. We had one good game this season where that system looked like it had worked against a big team like Arsenal. At Old Trafford, opening day, Arsenal still integrating players, not fully settled in. This, again, like that was optimism right there. But the signs were there at Fulham straight away. When the going got tough, the team melted and the system failed big time. And Ruben's love affair with certain players will destroy him at this football club again. We said, how many times did we say he'll die on that Bruno Fernandes sword? In midfield, two players. And if he wants to put Dalot, Maguire and Luke Shaw in there as well, then yeah, go for it. That's the end of you. Adam, I tell you why. It's the money. I don't actually think it is the money. If you are a businessman right now, you're thinking, if anything, Angry Beaver, welcome to the members club. If anything right now, when you look at the situation with the money, I don't think it is the money. I think it's the face of it. I think it's embarrassing for Inios. I think they lose a lot of respect if they sack Ruben Amarim. It's one of them, isn't it? It's the lesser of two evils right now. Do you accept that this is not the right manager and the embarrassment that comes with it, sacking another manager? You're literally, 18 months into your first two full seasons, near enough. Like a season, not even a season and a bit. When they started with Ten Hag at the start of last season, that was their first full season, and then this one. So not even a season and a half, and you've already sacked two managers. You're going back to that reputation you had at Nice that you wanted to get rid of. You wanted to do things differently, that's fine. You have completely dissected the football club, the squad and everything. You've reduced the debts, the money going out and everything like that. You've got rid of certain players, staff members, but you didn't want to have that tag of sacking managers constantly. And this big deal that you made about bringing Ruben Amarim in, you don't want to be embarrassed by it. But then again, like I said at the start, how much money do you want to lose? Because Ruben Amarim will lose you a fortune. Already, we are out of Europe. No money coming in there. Already this season, the Carabao Cup gate receipts gone. Manchester United just playing domestic football and dropping even further with more time to prepare, more fitness, more players available. So even now, the overcrowded fixture schedule cannot be used as an excuse now either. You're running out of excuses for Ruben Amarim. It's embarrassing that you have to sack him. He was your man. He's not lasted a year. Take it on the chin. I think that's what the problem is, because when you think about the money, 12 million, Manchester United to sack Ruben Amarim right now. If you move up 4 places in the Premier League, which we're not going to get in with Ruben Amarim, are we? Then you've paid for that. That's the prize money for 4 places in the Premier League. It's more than 12 million, in fact. That's the decision that you make now. Can United get into the top half of the table, at least with another manager? Yes. Get rid of Ruben now then, and bring that manager in. Look, it's as simple as that. It's all about the face of it. It's the embarrassment. It's what's coming. It's the ridicule and everything that's going to come. They wanted to be the big difference, and they've had an absolute stinkfest of a first year. It's gone completely wrong. Everything good off the pitch has done nothing to change anything on the pitch, unfortunately, for Inios. And now they have to take it on the chin. And this is what being part of Manchester United is about, and owning Manchester United. Well, the Glazers are sat back, happily taking your money to rebuild the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're sat here taking all of the flack for what they did and what they put in before. It's going to take you at least 3 years of mistakes and decisions to finally get into some form of rhythm and understanding of how this club is going to operate and what it's going to take. Jason Wilcox came out in an interview not too long ago. We talked about it here, talking about hoping he gets the chance to turn this club around. It's like talking like he's not even going to get that opportunity at the moment. It just looks from the outside like they're just trying to save face right now for me. And that isn't good enough. That's not going to get you anywhere near where United need to be. Right, let's get some more comments in on this as well. Lots of people bringing up other managers as well. If there is any manager that you think should be brought in as well, please do get into the comment section and let me know. Angry Beaver, thank you again for that gifted membership, as well as the one that you put in. Appreciate that, buddy. If you do get that membership, I are gifted any memberships on the show. Please make sure that you get into the live chat and thank that person who did it. The manager without the ability to change is not what Manchester United need. Ruben has to go or we're sunk, says James. ATKO says, he's talking to Gary here as well. Only Virgil van Dijk would have caught Thiago. Yoro came on and turns away from a shot with hands behind his back. The system left those 3 players open, plus the 2 wing-backs. Poor Dorgu's touch, 6 fumbles. People picking out every little bad bit. I think there's a lot of people had a chance, bravely enough, to actually watch the game back by the sounds of it. Bring in any manager, the first thing he'll do is go to a midfield 3. It's only Amarim who continuously plays Bruno out of position. If you're weak, you play 2 central defensive midfielders and 1 creative player. Is it that simple that everybody can see what the problem is except Ruben Amarim? That's embarrassing, isn't it? If we want to be real, we want to put a real marker of where we're at. Sets up a midweek game against the Academy. I bet the first team lose. I don't think they'd ever do that, because that would be reported by the media and United would be embarrassed. You probably would actually see. No, to be honest though, the last time United showed any consistency was when there was no fans in the stadium. Really. That was the best football we've seen played, isn't it? Maybe behind closed doors they might be all right. I don't know. The buyer says, we need a Van Gaal type manager to walk in on the first day, tell Bruno to leave the club like Van Gaal did to Van Persie. I mean, when you look at the right type of manager, it's hard to say which one is going to work right for United. What you need right now is someone to steady the ship. I think this is why the interim talk has gone into overdrive recently. Someone just to keep Manchester United afloat right now. Because you cannot bring anybody in. Like, we tried it with Ruben. He came in with this whole idea of trying to change Manchester United instantly. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to play this way, and it completely crapped the bed. And we finished in our worst ever Premier League position. That was, right, okay, we've tried this. Maybe it's going to get better the season after. Maybe it's going to get better this season when he's had a full pre-season, he's got money in and players that he wants, and he's got more time on the training ground. No international tournaments. Everything looking like he's got everything he needs. Everything looking like he's got in place and what he wanted through pre-season. And then we move on and start the season in a different way. A little bit of a glimpse of progression with the Arsenal game. Still no goals though. And then the fall off from there has been catastrophic. Absolutely catastrophic. And that's the point where you've got to go, right, okay, make the call now before this gets worse, because it isn't going to get better. Everybody sees it's not going to get better. Let's see what else we've got in here as well. 12 million for getting sacked. What is that about? Why are we paying out for the crap job being done? Contracts, mate, I'm afraid. And this is the way that the world works in football, isn't it? Because Zane's there with another super chat. Don't worry, we will still stop Liverpool winning the league. Get ready for our masterpiece today. At least Tesco scored. Look, mate, thanks for the super chat, Zane. I wouldn't be too bullish, to be honest, mate. Like Arteta has got Arsenal playing a good brand of football, but you're not winning anything. I know you're not going to win the league this season either. I think Newcastle beat you today, to be honest, as well. And you were licking your wounds again, mate. I'll be watching that match later on Football Talks, by the way, so come and see if I'm actually right on that one. Zane, you should come over and talk to us while the game's actually going on, mate. Come and join us on Football Talks later on, pal. Adam, United will always attract big names, etc., but you think these players just see a money-making contract? Question mark. Not the project cause. Let's face it, they paid regardless of performance. They are paid regardless of performance. And at this point, you look at the contracts of players, and we talked about this the other day. Like, let Maguire go. Let him go. Deal with it. Sure, terminate his contract. 1 year left after this season. Terminate him. Gone. 2 players out the door. Dallow's contract isn't that long. I'd just sell him on a cut price deal. I'd send him out on loan somewhere. Just get him out of the club. Get him out so you don't have to pick him. I'd rather play academy players at this point in time, because they might listen to a coach. They might actually go in there and do the job. Like, Dalot has had so many bad habits fed into him through different coaches, I feel. You're best in this position, you're best in that position, he's on the left, he's on the right. Honestly, there is no position for him right now. And where I don't like Dalot, I do feel a little bit sorry for him that he's actually had to be moved from pillar to post all over the place in different positions. Again, it's like anybody else at any other top club, you know exactly where that player's going to play. I say this all of the time. You cannot name Manchester United's lineup and say you know exactly where that player is going to be playing on the pitch. You can't do it. You don't know who's going to be playing where. It's ridiculous. Anyway, when you look at the Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, even now, so I said Arsenal, didn't I? Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, City, you know exactly where the players are going to be playing. At this point in time, I'm just happy for someone to come in, interim, and just look at these players and say, look, this is how it's going to be. I'm not bothered because I'm only here for 6 months. I'm going to get the best out of this team. I'm going to play these players. If you have to play certain players in certain positions to make the most out of them, you're just looking at a manager that's just going to get the most out of the situation he's got right now. And that's what United need, which is why I think it will be an interim. There won't be a long-term manager appointment at Manchester United at this stage of the season. If they do, they're crazy. They are. I think you have to wait until the summer to get the man you need. And I do believe it has to be someone with Premier League proven experience. Van Nistelrooy, interim, Eddie Howe / Glasner in the summer. I had this conversation with Kaz before. In fact, I'm just going to create a poll right now. Bear with me a second on this one, because this was a conversation we had before. Not fully convinced by Ruud van Nistelrooy, to be honest. I was going to say that now. Who would you take as an interim manager? Here we go. I'm just going to name 3 names here, and let's see where this one goes. I'm intrigued to see where the fan base is actually at with this one, because I'm not sure everyone's going to pick the same. Right, okay. These have all done interim jobs before for Manchester United, and you all know who they are. They're all former Manchester United players. So your options there, you've got Ole, Ruud and Michael Carrick. Who would you pick as an interim only? There is no long-term contract. You have got from now until the end of the season with this manager. Who would you go with? Just going to play a little bit of a game on this one here. They've all done interim jobs for Manchester United before. Let's not forget this. They've all got their own records. Who would you go with? And straight away, I knew it would be this. Already in the early knock-ins. I'll see if it carries on this way. I knew how this poll was going to go, because it's the unknown and it's something different. I'm not convinced by Ruud van Nistelrooy. Honestly, I'm not. Like, he galvanised the team a bit. He didn't have the worst games, to be honest, and we scored a few goals. Look, I'm not saying he can't do the job. I'm a little bit scared as to what he did with Leicester. I'm not going to lie. That did scare me a tad. But obviously, Leicester's Leicester, United's United. So let's just look at it this way. Let's look at it that way, sorry. At the moment, clearly, the clear winner is Michael Carrick for Manchester United. He just seems to have that coolness about him that I think might be what Manchester United need right now. I think all 3 of their managers would command respect from everybody at Manchester United. They know the club. They know what's necessary. And this is basically purely because I want a Prem proven manager. And I'll tell you right now, the managers that I would go for in the summer at Manchester United, Glasner is one, 100%. I'm not just saying that because he's now up there second in the league. I mean, Sunderland, it is like Sunderland and Crystal Palace in the top 3 right now. That tells you everything about how difficult this league is. And going back to my point earlier on about there being no gimme games anymore. But I'd have Glasner. I would definitely put him right up there. Emery would be another manager for me. I think would get, with money, I think would be successful at Manchester United. Premier League proven managers here is what we're talking about. And Iriola at Bournemouth. Them would be my top 3 managers to go for Manchester United. I do think that they would be the right type of fits. There is that fear that I've got that it's a manager that hasn't ever managed at a massive football club. Massive, like big one. But who has? You go for Zidane, who can't speak English. Is that the right type of manager? Do you go for him? Do you go for Xavi, who obviously has worked at Barcelona? They're your other options. There is no one who's worked at a massive football club in England that can come to Manchester United. So you're limited on your options, aren't you, as to who comes in? Kaz said bring in McKenna. After all that, getting McKenna back in again. If Amarim picks the same team against Sunderland, how will you react? How do you think? I mean, I think it was quite clear yesterday how I will react if he picks the same team against Sunderland. Well, he will lose the game. I'm pretty certain he will lose the game. Look, again, I know exactly what's going to happen. We will probably scrape a win against Sunderland, and he'll get that extra time. I've said all along, my prediction will be is he gets sacked after Brighton beat us when we come back from the international break, because I think Brighton will beat Manchester United. We're in no shape at all with the players that we've got to handle what's going to come with that Brighton side and Herzl and what he's going to do to Manchester United again. It'll be the 4th season in a row where United lose to Brighton. And losing the home game, I think, will actually be the final nail in the coffin. So this is my prediction of how it's going to go. And I said this yesterday. We will beat Sunderland on Saturday. because we have to. It's the same thing. But we will go away to Liverpool and then we will lose. Right, okay, we're losing the away game. We're winning the home game. We're just about keeping our head above water. But then you've got a tough home game. And if you lose a home game, that's when it will start to turn off. I think he will lose to Brighton. And that is my prediction. Just a prediction. I don't want it to happen. Of course, I want him to win every single game and prove me wrong. But I've got no confidence in that happening at all. So, yeah, I think it will be after the Brighton game. Because I think after that, I'm pretty certain it's Nottingham Forest away. You could say that if he loses to bleeding Ange Postecoglou in the way that he started, then that will be the end of him. But, yeah, just looking at that poll right now, who would you take as an interim manager right now till the end of the season? Ollie, Ruud or Carrick? Carrick is leading the way. He's landsliding it at the moment with 55% of the vote. Keep voting on that, please, everybody. Give me your thoughts. We'll just let that run until the end. We've not got too long left. We are going to go in straight across talking about the sack race and the whole Premier League setup at the moment over on Football Talk straight after this, everybody. So make sure that you do come and join us as well for that show. Let's just get up Sean's super chats there as well. Thank you, Sean. Glasner for me, but there's risks committing to a 3-5-2 counter-attacking football, and we've not got the players and the know-how. Well, that's when you look at the summer and why I would pick the manager for the summer. So this is my point. Sean's made a point that Glasner has got his style. He plays a 3-4-3 as well, by the way. But Palace's 3-4-3 is completely different to United's. But Glasner coming in this summer is when United have done what I've already said in this show, which is getting rid of the players. So Bruno's gone, Casemiro's gone, terminate Luke Shaw's contract, Maguire is gone, he's out of contract, let him go, don't renew his contract at all. So there enough there, you've got 4 massive players, 4 senior players at Manchester United gone. The old guard out. That's it. And now you've only got a fresh where you can build a completely new side. And that, I think, is what needs to happen right now. It needs a complete facelift, Manchester United. And it needs all of the old guard out, rebuilding. We can talk about the culture. We can talk about the players that have got the right attitude. And I think Harry Maguire has got the right attitude to be a United player. I really do. I think he's got the perfect mentality to be a Man United player. But it's just not good enough. That's it. And that's the decision that you've got to make. So the old guard's gone. You're not relying on them same old players as you have been years before. Dalot will drift out because he's not good enough. And then you start from scratch. You start to build a team like Glasner has done at Crystal Palace. Bringing a new team together rather than trying to make them blend in with the old. And what has failed Manchester United before, you start afresh. You start to build this. You start relying on the likes of Lenny Yoro and Aidan Heaven, putting trust in these players to be Manchester United going forward. Leacher could possibly come in there as well. I don't know. And what we've got to say here is, I feel, with a new manager coming in, he needs the script completely ripping up before he can start. Because if he comes into Ruben's mess now, and you're expecting him to actually do something with Manchester United and change it, before he's even got going in his philosophy, he's already on a downward spiral like Ruben was. It has to be interim. 100% has to be an interim manager for Manchester United to see out the season, then get someone you really know can change and build his philosophy in the summer. People, I know I can see some people in the chat actually looking at this and say Ruben isn't the problem. Long term, yeah, you could probably say that is right. But right now, with Ruben, we are going to keep on dropping. And you know it. He's actually come out and said that he's not going to change what's going wrong. So how do we take that as fans? You can blindly back this man and try and use the ownership model as the problem for what's happening. It's there. It is a problem. And I've just made a big point about it this morning. The friends type of relationship at Man United at the top level is causing us a problem, I feel. So that, again, I get what people are saying, like Ruben's not the problem. Long term, it is the ownership and what Manchester United do. I get that. But still, right now, Ruben is not going to change. So we have to keep on losing before Ruben actually gets his message across. By then, the players have completely given up, and it's just untenable. You cannot do it. He's given up because he won't change, is how it is right now. Will there be enough money for a centre-back after we bring in 3 midfielders? I don't know. But at the moment, this is the decision United have to make. Can we salvage something now with a different coach? Because I don't think there's going to be any money for Manchester United if we don't get in Europe. United need European football. I'm not having this that United can afford to be out of Europe. We can't. The plan for the new stadium is out the window. The plan to bring in good players is out of the window. Yeah, you can always say United will always attract big players. It's not the case if you constantly are dropping away, because United have always been in Europe the next season over. If we've missed out on Europe, we're always back in it the season after. The way we're going at the moment, we're on the back of our first ever Premier League era. In the Premier League era, our first time where we are going out of Europe back-to-back seasons. That's never happened. And opinions then will change and worries will creep in then. And that's the problem you're going to have. Right. Xavi is perfect. We have players to play for his 4-3-3. I don't know. It's the old not having prem proven and manager experience that does me. I'm worried about. I'm not saying Xavi's a bad coach, by the way. I think he is a good coach, but I don't know if he's the right fit for Man United. Right, so let's wrap things up there. We've gone on long enough there. We're going to be jumping across over onto football talks now, everybody. Talking about the sack race and the odds and where the certain managers are at. There's quite a few of them. There is quite a few of them at the moment. So I'm going to be jumping across there now, so please come and join us. We'll redirect you as well. Thank you everyone for being involved today. Thank you mods for helping out in the chat. All of the super chats and new members as well. Thank you very much. I'll see you all over on football.